Today we're going to do a slightly different kind of video. This is going to be the first video in my MYOG series. MYOG is an acronym, and the M is dual purpose. It stands for Make or Modify Your Own Gear. And today's video is going to be on Ridgelines. And the two most popular Ridgelines. I use both kinds. I find them both useful and both very relevant. I carry a little line bag that I made. It has all my line in it. It has my Ridgelines, it has my tie-out lines, it has everything. So this video is going to kind of be an overview mainly on the two different kinds of Ridgelines. One is a rapid deployable Ridgeline that I mostly use with my poncho, you know, something I want up like really quick, lean-to or plow point. The other one is called a continuous Ridgeline, and it actually comes from Derek Hansen and his wonderful book, which is The Ultimate Hang, which has a volume 2 now. And I gotta say, that's if you are into the outdoors, look into hammocks. I've been into hammocks now going on, yeah, it'll be 3 years this year. And it really changed a lot for me. It got me off the ground. And when you spend decades of your life as a ground camper and then all of a sudden you're in hammocks, it's like a whole new world. But anyway, so we're going to cover the two different Ridgeline types. They're two different lengths, and I use mostly paracord. However, I also use this wonderful stuff right here by Atwood Rope. It's part of the utility rope series. You can see it's 1/16 diameter, 110-pound breaking tensile strength. And this particular stuff comes in a variety of colors. This here is their green camo, I believe. Yeah, it doesn't have a thing on the back other than USA, and it is 100% USA made. I love the stuff. I use this also for my tie-outs. So, really useful stuff. I use this to make my prusik loops, and I'm going to show you how I do that. So what you're going to need to make these Ridgelines is you're going to need paracord, a reasonable, you know, quality of paracord. I wouldn't go buy the cheapest paracord, because in an emergency you might have to use that Ridgeline for something else. Just saying. But I was at the Sierra Outlet. We have a Sierra Outlet store not too far from where I live. And I love going in there because I get great deals. And they had this UST heavy-duty paracord for $2.99 for 50 feet. Well, it just so happens that the continuous Ridgelines that I use are 50 foot. So I can make 3 Ridgelines here, if I so chose. Then I was walking around the store and I found this Avalanche 7-strand paracord. You can see the specs there. 90 foot. Each of these bundles is 30 foot. Well, my rapid deploy Ridgeline is 30 foot. I don't see really a reason to make it any longer, because here in Michigan, trees are just all over the damn place. Even if you're in a swamp, some of these swamps, you got trees. I never have needed more than 30 feet for a rapid deploy Ridgeline. Okay, the reason that the continuous Ridgeline is 50 foot will become apparent when I set it up and show you. It requires more cordage. But anyway, so what you're going to need a length of paracord that's 30 foot, a length of paracord that's 50 foot, and you're going to need something to make prusik loops. Well, we have this wonderful utility rope from Atwood Rope, or if you so choose. If you had bank line, this is number 36 bank line, that would work as well. You need a couple toggles. That's mainly to pull the prusik loops tight as the end point. You're going to need a file as a texture tool. You're going to need a lighter to burn the ends, and you're going to need a knife or scissors to cut the line. So let's get set up, let's make some prusik loops, and I'll show you where I'm going. Oh, and if you so choose, you could make prusik toggles, and that's what these wonderful little pieces are for. This is a 2-inch piece of 1/4 inch oak dowel. Now I do a lot of woodwork, so I have a lot of this oak dowel. I have a lot of small pieces laying around, and this is what I end up doing with some of it. And as you see, right in the dead center, there's a hole bored through it. And it's just big enough for me to fit a prusik loop on. You'll see that here in a moment. So I'm going to pause the camera, I'm going to get set up here, and we're going to make some prusik loops. So we got our cigarette lighter, torch type lighter, which I prefer. We got our utility cord, and if you'll notice, see if I can get this to come in here, because I got a partially used old roll I found of my Atwood rope. They've changed the label since last time I bought it. But anyway, if you can, oh boy, how am I going to make this? If you'll notice, that kind of has like a mushroom head look to it. And that's how I do this type of rope or utility cord when I'm using it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure out 12 1/4 inches and cut it. Okay. So I got my 12 1/4 inches. Now I'm going to melt the end. Okay. And then I'm going to squish it on the file. And it hardens up pretty quick, and it gives you this textured mushroom head type appearance. Now why you want that is because when you go to tie a prusik loop, these act like natural stops and don't allow the cord to pull through the knot. So we're going to tie a prusik loop, and how you tie a prusik loop is you have one length of cord on top of the other. I always do it exactly how I'm showing you. So we take this end, and you basically tie an overhand knot around the cord. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to snug that up a little bit. So as you can see, it's a knot, an overhand knot right above that cord. Now this cord here that comes around the bottom, we're going to go over that cord around just like that. So both these are like a pretzel knot. And then when I pull this together, well, before I do that, I want to make sure that this one, I take the slack out of that a little bit more. Okay. So there they are, right? Now I'm going to take my 2 toggles. I want you to watch that knot closely. And I'm going to apply a lot of pressure. And that knot all snugs up. Look at that. It's like a nice little berry. Okay. And there's my prusik loop. There's the knot. Very tight, compact. And you can see those mushroom heads did not pull through. That's going nowhere. And that's our prusik loop. We can take one of these sticks. and we're going to make a prusik toggle. So what we do is we take this loop and we pinch the end opposite of the knot together, and we're going to weasel that through this hole. Okay, so there it is coming through. I'm going to pull that through. Then I'm going to take this end with the knot. I'm going to pass it through that loop, creating a lark's head. I'm going to snug that down on there. And now at one end we've got the knot, at the other end we've got this toggle. Now when we attach this to the ridge line, this is going to allow us to take something like our poncho here, and here's our grommet, and the grommet on these ponchos is a 1/2 inch grommet. So imagine this is connected to the line and you have this toggle. You can fold this over like that, pass it through the grommet, and there it is, not coming off. And the best part about this is, if I decide I want to use this prusik loop for something else, I can detach this just the same way I put it together. Real easy. Plus there's something else I want to show you, but I gotta pause the camera and grab something, so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and here we got our canteen. As you can hear, there's water in it. Now let's say I took the cap off this canteen and I set this in the fire, and I've got that good and boiling hot. And let's say, like a dummy, I forgot my fish mouth spreader at home. How am I going to get the canteen out of the fire without burning the hell out of myself? Well, if I had one of these prusik toggles, I can pass it through there and lift that right out of the fire. And the cool thing is, like I said, this oak is tung oil treated. Tung oil is a food safe finish for wood. So I got no worries about contaminating my water. So it's just a nice little other added bonus to something like this. I thought I'd share that. So off camera, just for sake of speed here, because I really don't think you want to watch me tie 2 more prusik loops. I tied 2 more, because we're going to need a total of 3 for the rapid deploy ridgeline. And just wanted to show you, I paid $6 for 90 feet, each in 30-foot increments of this avalanche paracord. Which, what a sweet deal. Anyway, so we're going to take this 30-foot, try to find the end, see how they did it. I always notice some of these companies, the way they'll tie up this cord, it's always interesting. Alright, I'm going to pause the camera. It's going to take me a minute to find the end, and then I'll bring you back when I found it. Found the end of the paracord finally. So we're going to do the same thing with this that we did with the utility cord from Atwood. We're going to melt this end really good, and we're going to stick it on the file to create that nice mushroom head, but we're going to have to hold it here a little bit longer to make sure it's completely cooled. And it's for the same purpose, so that when I tie a real close knot, I don't know if you can see, it's got a texture to it, and it's got kind of a mushroom shape to the head, like a toadstool, I suppose. Alright, I'm going to take this and I'm going to measure out 5 inches. Alright, I get that held in place. I'm going to tilt the camera. So you can see here, I got measured out 5 inches. Alright? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie an overhand knot right here. So we're just going to take this, fold it over, tuck that end back through, we just want a nice knot to come down right at that point. All right. Okay, there's the knot. I'm going to use these toggles to pull it, tighten up that knot real good. So now we have a nice little loop here. Now that loop is so that when we go around a tree, we can tuck a piece of this back through, and we can marlin spike hitch it like that for a quick release. So that's one part of it. Now this one I'm going to make with toggles. So we're going to do up another one of these prusik loops with a toggle, but the third one is not going to get a loop, and generally that is going to be for a headlamp or a lamp to hang on or whatever. So once again, we just pinch that opposite of the knot, force that through. Okay, and then tuck it through and just pull it and tighten it all up, dress it up. Okay, so there's our second prusik toggle. Real simple. Okay, now we're going to put these prusiks on this line right near this loop. So now it gets interesting. I'm going to do one on camera and the rest I'm going to do off camera, because I end up using my teeth a lot to tighten these up, and I just don't like trying to talk through my teeth while I'm doing something like this. But basically, okay, I got to make sure I'm in camera here. Okay, basically just like this. Let me move this stuff over. Okay, so we have our prusik toggle underneath our 550 cord, and we're basically going to take it, feed it through itself, and we're going to do this 3 times. Then we want to dress this up, and I made a real good mess of this, so it'll take me a second here to dress this up. But basically, you want the outer loops coming to the inner loops and all that good stuff. Okay. Okay, so there is our prusik with our toggle on our line. And when that's through, you can see I'm pulling it this way, it's not moving. I'm pulling it this way, it's not moving. But I can go ahead and I can slide this anywhere along the paracord, and it'll lock back up again when I try to pull it this way. One of the other things I didn't mention, which I'm going to point out now, is when I do a ridgeline like this paracord's black, so I'm using a a green line, or I'll use another color that's going to stand out against the black, so it's easier for me to see these in low light or such. I like doing a lot of stealth camping. I don't like people seeing where my campsite is, because when I'm out, the whole point of me going out is to get away from people. I know it sounds incredibly antisocial, but with some of the people I got to deal with on a daily basis, I really like some me time away from everybody. So part of me stealth camping is blending in and not standing out. So I tend to use darker colors so I don't stand out. But anyway, I'm going to put these other prussics on here. Now I'm going to bring you back, show you what this looks like. Then we're going to go ahead and put this all together in a rapid deploy bundle. And then we're going to do the continuous ridgeline. So we've got the other prussic loops on here. As you can see, we just got the 2 toggles, and we just got a plain one in the middle, plain prussic loop. Now the main reason for this is so this ridgeline would go around a tree, come around another tree, we'd tie a trucker's hitch in it, tighten it up real good, and then each of these toggles would go through a corner of my poncho, and then I would slide these out to give it tension, and this one would be in the middle that I could put a headlamp or any type of electric lamp or something for light if I should need it. Or I could use this as another tie-off point. You don't really need 3. This is just the way I do it. So, next thing is to put this in a nice bundle to where I can rapidly deploy it. So the first thing you do is you want to move all these prussics right up against each other, right up to the end. Boom. Just like that. Okay? Then I'm going to have to unwind this whole thing, keeping it kink-free, fighting off the cats while I wind it up. So let me get it unwound, and then I'll show you a real quick, easy way to wind it. Hopefully we won't have a war with the cats. We will see. I'll be right back. Okay, so I have it all unwound. We're going to take this end with the prussics, and we're going to put that over the web of the hand, and we're going to come around the pinky, back around the thumb, and you're just going to keep doing a figure 8. We're winding up that 30 feet. And already the cat's grabbing the other end. Stop it! Okay. I swear to God. I don't know why I said yes to a cat, but hey. Anyway, as I continue to wind this up, and I'm fighting. Aha, he let go. Alright. So we're winding up. Now when you get to the last... there's where the cat was. Yanking on it. Anyway, when you get to the last, I don't know, 4.5 feet, you want to take this roll, take it off your hand, keep it together, and take this line. I'm going to start at the end with the prussics. I'm going to bring it back over itself, and I'm going to start winding it down the bundle. Keeping everything together. Now you don't want to wind it super hard because you want to be able to pull this apart, but you don't want it super loose either. So I would say medium to firm medium. Alright, and when you get down to the last little bit like this, we're just going to go under. I would do like a little clove hitch. just like that. So we got that over under like a clove hitch, and at this end we got our prussiks, and that can tuck right against it, and it can go right in the bag just like this. And that's our rapid deploy ridgeline, 30 foot. So that is the first ridgeline. Now we're going to do a continuous ridgeline, which is different. So let me get everything set up and I'll be right back. So we have our 50 foot length paracord. We have two mini carabiners. Now I like this style that has the wire gate that actually does the tension. There's no spring. The wire itself is the spring. I'll put a link below where I got these. I got them on Amazon. They've been pretty good to me. They're aluminum, but they got really good strength. Okay, so you need two carabiners, little carabiners. You need one prussic loop, 12-inch prussic loop, and 50 foot a paracord to do this continuous ridgeline. So the first thing you do is you take one end of this paracord, and we're going to tie a 5-inch loop just like we did on the other one. So we're going to measure that out. There's our thing. We're going to do our overhand knot. Real simple, real straightforward, real basic. Now I'm going to work that knot all the way down. You know, of course, this is after I mushroomed and melted the ends so that that line won't pull through that knot when I go to tighten it. Okay, so there's our beginning loop. Now we're going to take our toggles and we're going to tighten the hell out of that. Okay, so there's our loop. We take one of our mini carabiners and we're just going to create a lark's head. And all you do to create a lark's head on a loop like this is you fold the loop back on itself, and it'll make these two little ears, and then you fold these ears together just like that to create that loop. And I'm going to take that carabiner and I'm going to run it through those ears. Okay, I'm just going to tighten that down. So there, that carabiner is lark's headed onto that loop. That's one side. Then we're going to unwind this cord, and about 6 to 8 feet from the end of this cord, we're going to put this prussic loop on there. And then we're going to lark's head the end of the prussic onto this carabiner. So let me get this unwound, find the other end, go back 6 to 8 feet, and then I'll show you how it looks. So here's the other end of the paracord. I'm guessing it's between 8 and 10 feet. It doesn't really matter, but here's the prussic on the cord. If you notice, this time I got the knot off to the side, and that's generally how most people set up a prussic. It's nice and all dressed up on the line. Okay, now we're going to use this end. We're going to fold this over on itself, creating those two ears. Then we're going to fold those together, and that creates our little lark's head. And we're going to go ahead and put that carabiner right through that lark's head, and we're going to tighten that down. Okay, so there is the carabiner on the prussic, which is on the other end of the cord. Now we're going to wind that cord up just like we did the other ridge line, except this one's going to be bigger and take longer to do. So rather than bore you showing me winding this all up, I'm going to pause the camera, wind it up real quick, show you what it looks like when it's done. So I'll be right back. So we're back. We have our line wound up and our rapid deploy bundle. On this end, you can see that's where the prusik ended up, and our loop with our carabiner at the other side. And to deploy this, you just grab this end and pull, wrap that around the tree, yada yada yada, and here you go. Now, right next to our other ridge line, they're pretty easy to distinguish which is which, because one's a lot bigger than the other. Even in the dark, I'm going to tell which is which, because this is smaller and that's bigger just by grabbing it. So the next step is, now we're going to go out in the field, and I'm going to take a poncho, and I'm going to show you how to set either of these up and how they work, because this one works very different than this one, and vice versa. And who knows, you might choose to use just one, or be like me, I have either or. Generally I use this style when I'm setting up my rainfly for hammocking. And like I said, that's where I got it from, was Derek Hansen's book, The Ultimate Hang. Just great book. Anyway, so let me cut this. We're going to go out in the woods and we're going to set these up, and I'll show you what they look like. So we're kind of out in the woods, but we're only about a half mile or so from a road, so you're going to hear cars once in a while. I didn't have a lot of time here, so I couldn't go deep into the woods, but we have a tree right here, and we have a tree right here, and we are going to use our rapid deploy ridge line and our Miltech poncho, and we're going to set up a quick lean-to. So let me get out here and do it. Oh, and I just want to do a quick shout out to Tack, my favorite internet ninja. Tack, I miss you, brother. They say copying a person is the sincerest form of flattery. Well, I'm not Tack. Miss you, brother. Okay, let's get this set up. Oh. Need a stick. There we go. So you pull it out. Slide your prusiks down, go around the tree, pull the loop through, creating a marlin spike hitch, cinch it up, go to this other tree, tie a trucker to. Okay. So that was the way view. Now I'm going to pull you in and show you close up. So we have our line going around the tree, coming back through this loop. We use the stick to create a marlin spike hitch. Here is our prusiks and toggles. we go over to this end, and we just tied a trucker's hitch. There's our extra cordage. This is nice and taut. So let me put you back. Oh, that line just disappears, doesn't it? Okay. Now I'm going to set up the poncho. That's the wrong corner. I'm out of practice. There we go. That's the right corner right there. And last, we tie the hood off. Now that was really quick and kind of sloppy, but you get the basic idea. And I'm a little out of practice. I need to get out more. Alright, so that was the rapid deploy ridgeline with the toggles. Let's go take a closer look. And as you can see, there's the toggle prussiks. Here's the prussik that we could hang a lamp off of, and that's toward the middle. There's that prussik, and we are staked out at the corners. And there is our hood tied off. Now what we could do for more room is we can put a line from that hood to that tree or that tree over there. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to go ahead and pause the camera and do that right now. Now we've got that hood tied off and pulled back, and it's created a little bit more room in there. Let's get a closer look. As you can see, there's the hood. That line just disappears, which is exactly what I want. But we'll get a better look. So there's the line. It comes back here. And let me zoom this out a little bit. As you can see, we have a prussik here that cinches up to a loop on the knot, and that comes and goes around that tree, and that's what gives us tension to pull that out. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Alright, let me get this taken down, and we're going to set up for the continuous ridge line, and I'll show you what's different on that. The quick ridge line is taken down, put away. Now we're going to do the continuous ridge line, and you're going to see what's different about these two. So let me get it set up. I should have moved this clip further up than 10 foot just for the distance of these trees. I had this set up like I was going to be using my rain fly, which is a 12-foot rain fly, and generally I have a greater distance between the trees when I do that. So if you just bear with me, I made a mess. There we go. Alright. Alright. So you take a corner with a grommet and you pass that through. Take the other side. I already see I need more slack. Okay, now we want to tighten it up. Now, so I have this nice and tight. Now here's the cool thing about a continuous ridge line. I can grab this and I can move this tarp back and forth. I can adjust it, or I should say poncho, wherever I want it. Then stake it out. Then come in, tie this hood back. Bingo, bango, bongo. All done. Let's get a close-up of this, how this is set up. So you can see this carabiner is going through the ridge line and through the grommet. It goes around the tree, goes down around that tree, and it repeats the same thing here. And this is where we do the tension. As we pull on this and push this prusik as tight as we want to give us the tension across here. And then we can tie another prusik, or we could just tie right in here with a toggle and really tighten this up if we wanted. And that's basically that. So that's the difference between a rapid deploy ridgeline and a continuous. Like I said, a continuous is usually used for when you want to set up a large rain fly for hammock camping. And that's what I use that continuous for. And that's why it's 50 foot long. Because my tarp is 12 foot across the ridgeline. So when I set it up, I need between 15 and 20 foot between trees is generally what I do. But so this is the first installment of make or modify your own gear, and we've covered ridgelines, two kinds. I hope you've enjoyed it, and tack, if you ever see this brother, I do miss your videos. I haven't seen you in a few months. I hope everything's okay. So I'll catch you all later.